the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Welcome to ResiWeek. This is your weekly wrap-up of all the latest news and stories in the residential AV industry. I'm your host today, Matt D. Scott for AVNation.tv. Today, I am pleased to be joined for the second week in a row by my good friend, Todd Puma. Todd, how you doing today?
How's it going, Matt? Good to see you again, 2 weeks in a row.
As I keep telling you, we need to see other people. We can't, there's no other people.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
Todd, if you don't know him, is the president of the Source Home Theater. We're also joined by Jason Savage. He is the West Coast Sony Custom Integration guy. Jason, how are you today?
Hey, good, guys. How are you guys up to?
We are great. Thanks so much for being here. Then last but not least, because our friend Joe Whitaker decided not to join us today.
Don't punk out Joe.
Oh, I'm totally punking out Joe. This is what he gets for punking out on a show.
He earns it.
He gets the wrath of Matt. We have my good friend, Tim Albright, the founder of AVNation.tv. Tim, how are you?
I'm unprepared. I'll just put it that way.
Hey,
I haven't shaved. I have a cap on. Let's see how this goes.
I haven't shaved either, so we're good.
Yes, but yours looks good. You're not having shaved, so.
That's true. That's very true. All right, let's jump right in, guys. This past week, leading into the weekend, was a bit of a big news day. As you can see over on Residential Systems, we'll pull this up for you. Sonos, the big bad behemoth in multi-room, decided that they were actually going to do some real integration. This article comes to us from Residential Systems and my good friend Lindsay Adler. Sonos they're jumping in finally and opening up a little bit. They're giving they're offering some true control with Crestron Control 4, Lutron, Savant, and more to come. Guys, this is a huge deal. There's a lot of us in the industry that either love and hate Sonos, but it's had probably one of the best customer adoption rates of any multi-room product that there's ever been. How big of a deal is it that Crestron and Control 4 and Savant and Lutron now have some true API control? As the other integrator on the show, Todd, what's your feeling on this?
As you know, throughout many years, I was kind of calling Sonos the death of our industry. It was the beginning and the end.
Hold on 1 second. Do you have a Crestron box with a Sonos box in the background?
Oh, yeah. That's it. Did you notice that?
I just did. That's fantastic. I'm sorry. Continue.
Okay. So for many years, I kind of always been intimidated by what Sonos was causing in the industry. They were a DIY brand, only focused on getting to the end user. They used our outlet for many years to say that they're all about integrators. When the economy went down, that's what was there, Sonos. They were keeping guys running, they were keeping guys making money, and somewhat making profits. I always had a little bit of a beef with them because I believe if you don't open your API, then you're not part of the industry. You're not working with us, you're working against us. And you know what? It could be wrong thinking, it could be right thinking, but it's just something that I've been challenged with for many years. But the one thing I stated by working with Mark Feinberg and other integrators that love the brand, I stated many times before, if they did come around and worked with us and opened their API, I would be all for it. My hesitations are always many years ago, customers always stated, I don't like this product, this doesn't work right, and that was the cause of third-party products working in the ecosystem. I'm going to state this, but this is not the case. Lutron working with Crestron. So Crestron corrected that by taking the shading and lighting and putting it into their own ecosystem, which built an overall better customer experience. When a change was made, it was made through the ecosystem. It wasn't made through the third party that crashed the whole system. Also, it wasn't a learning curve. It's something that we currently learn through one manufacturer. with Sonos coming around again, and now they're doing this, and we're working with more third-party products like Nest, Sonos, and Amazon, and the list goes on and on and on. It's taking me a little bit of a while to get used to this. Am I for it? I'm going to be for it because Sonos, like you said, it's something the customers do request and they want, and it's nice to have part of your ecosystem and integration. Does anyone here know exactly what it's going to do for us? No, we don't. We might have an idea, but we have to see what's going to happen, just like other integration companies, Autonomics, Lutron, Amazon, and the list goes on and on. I'm embracing this, and I'm all for it. What Crestron's doing is the only one in manufacturer that's going to take a different angle on this, where they're going to be working as a full never mind, I can't say anymore. Sorry, that's not in the article. But Crestron's taking a different angle with this than no one is, and you'll be seeing more at CEDIA.
Very, very good. Jason, this is something that Todd kind of broached. It's something that we've been talking about for a while, where they needed to become part of the industry opposed to just kind of an add-on. Is this something that's going to completely extend that, or is it still? Are the handcuffs still on a little bit?
I guess the proof is in the pudding. We'll see what what it rolls out and what it actually looks like. I have to take my Sony hat off here for a second, and certainly say that this is my own personal opinion. I think Sonos is probably a few years behind where they should be as far as being partners with AV integrators, as well as working with third-party devices.
Don't disagree with that at all.
Throw my Sony hat back here really quickly. We make AV receivers that integrate with Sonos and with our high-res audio players, but there's no API where it's a watch the network type of situation. So I think it's inevitable that they had to make this change. I think overall it's probably going to be for the betterment of everybody that's selling this product and using this product, that they're going to work with Amazon all the way through Crestron.
Right.
And probably going to see a lot more crossover there. But honestly, at the end of the day, I don't see how they could continue to be Sonos without making this change and coming on board with all the third-party guys. Just my read on it. And like I said, Sony hat off here. I think they're a couple of years behind where they should be, quite frankly.
Well, Sony for many years, they came up with a couple of receivers that integrated with Control 4 with two-way communication, right? And you guys have been around forever. You guys are the industry, pretty much. At the beginning started with Sony, and every customer wanted Sony and still wants Sony. But with Sony, how they work is most of the integration with you guys is kind of just IR based, and little by little, it's becoming more IP based. May I ask you a question that possibly can't be answered, but are you going to get aboard with the with the Sonos and integration, train and start working with multiple manufacturers with opening your API and two-way communication? Then the list goes on between your media servers, projectors, TVs, DVD player, Blu-ray players, whatever it may be. Is that going to be something in the future that we might see?
And I'll say this to that: we've been working really, really hard. I was an integrator for 16 years before I came to work at Sony, and even at the time, again, I was a little surprised that Sony was hiring guys out of the CI world to come and represent their product or talk about their product, train on their product. So where we've come in the last 5 years, from when I started with the company to where we are now, is a complete 180. Not only from the level of support, but also the engineering side of things. Again, I can hook you up offline or online, whatever, but we actually have a dedicated engineer on our staff that does nothing but coding. Typical, unfortunately, sometimes of big companies, we're this giant thing that nobody knows anything about. So you've got to know the inlets to get information out of the company, quite frankly. So that's one of the reasons that I got hired, is to be a conduit for that information and to sort of be a traffic cop and say, hey, if you need drivers, this is who to talk to. If you need technical support, I'm the guy to talk to. If you need an RA or you need, in-field support, this is the number to call. I still deal with integrators that have been Sony dealers for 10 years at some of them, and they're like, what, you guys have an integrator support line? What? You have a driver database somewhere that I can get my hands on? Are you kidding me? Where's this been? You have a dedicated website that's just for custom install products? What? So, again, I still have my work cut out for me, apparently. But we're going to continue to push that envelope and to make that information available and to be the integrator's choice. At least my boss Frank Stearns has anything to say about it. We're going to be the one that everybody wants to go with.
Very good, Tim. You and I have talked about this fairly extensively back and forth over the Sonos thing. How much of this is a change? Not only something that, as both the guys have brought up, that Sonos needed to do years ago, and we've been railing on them for years that they've needed to open up the chain and make it more accessible and more, honestly, integratable with everything else that the CI line's doing. But part and parcel with that has been their dedication to mobile and the fact that, sure, it kind of needs to be part of a control system, but if you can pull out your phone and just hit the app, it's just as fast. How much of this announcement and this joining is them realizing that not all clients want to have to pull and launch an app every time they want to adjust something?
It's an incredible departure from a year ago. If you guys remember, a year ago, CDF, Sonos had, right before, made this big announcement they were going to be going into Best Buy and a couple other big box stores, and that was this huge thing, right? Mm-hmm. This is kind of almost a declaration from Sonos saying, okay, we get it, let's do some integration now, right? Not everybody wants to do a cell phone, not everybody wants to have another app in their on their phone or on their tablet to do X, Y, and Z. So I think it's not quite a 180, but it's a real change from a year ago.
Well, and is it just that it's the change in them realizing that they need to hit more clients and more things like that, but also realizing that it's not just about us, it's about the client experience. So just like Todd said about how, somebody with a Crestron home, they don't want to have to, again, pull out their phone after using their touch panel on the wall to find their proper playlist. They still want to be able to walk into that room and easily and honestly cheaply hit a button and turn the volume up or turn the volume down.
So think about this. You've got Sonos, which somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Sonos has the how do I say this? The biggest booth of anybody who had a Super Bowl commercial at CD.
By far.
Right?
Yep.
So ginormous booth. They also had a Super Bowl commercial, right? Good, great exposure for the CI channel, but it was Sonos kind of going on their own, right? They were saying, so we're here, we're Sonos, we can give you music, wherever you want it. This, I think what this says is, okay, we've got the lower tier installs. We've got the folks who, the DIY, to Todd's point. Now let's go over now let's head for the next tier, or the next 2 or 3 tiers. To get to those, these are folks who are putting control systems in. Mm-hmm. That's why you've got them integrating with Control4, with Crestron, with Lutron. Folks who already have systems in their homes, and let's be honest about what the price tag of those systems are. These are not $1,000 home automation or $1,000 home renovation systems. These are not $1,000 technology systems. They're going to be a little bit above that. So these are second and third tier integrations. They're wanting to get into that, which is why they have to partner with and play nice with these stalwarts of control systems.
Well, and I think that sorry, I'm getting echo somewhere. I think there's also something to be said for the fact that, if I've got a Play 1 and a Play 3 in my house, I might show that off maybe when my friends come over, but nothing on the level of, our clients that have a dedicated theater room, or, a 6-figure, 7-figure automation system or AV package. Those clients, that's, the second first, second, third thing that they show off when somebody comes over to their house. So what is more, appealing to somebody, company-wise like Sonos, who's had a lot of success in that entry-level market, to now have something that can sit right beside the Crestron controller or the Control4 controller and the rack full of, Crown amps or whatever else is in that house, to have all of those white boxes sitting there as an advertisement for it. Again, I'm shocked it took them this long, but I love the fact that they did it.
Yeah,
now, go ahead.
That's the problem, is it took them this long. Why did it take them this long? They took share of the market. There was nobody else around. Now Hios, Paradigm, the list goes on, are starting to develop products similar to that are integration friendly. There's a red flag that goes up. And I'm going to play devil's advocate through this whole, process with Sonos, because
no, you
only
no, I don't believe it.
This is the only brand that has gotten to me for such a long time. I am a dealer at this point, and I signed up because of the Crestron Alliance, and I'm going to support them. But there is red flags that pop up. They are a business. They have to figure out how to merge, how to grow with the smart home and automation. What better way to do it than integrating with other companies and having them do everything for them? Crestron has leverage. They're working with Sonos. So now other customers are going to start understanding Crestron that isn't at the highest end solutions that are offered. Control4 and all these other manufacturers are going to use the Sonos name as leverage, and it is going to build more awareness. But the question is, did Sonos really do it at the right time, or did they understand at this point that with building their storefronts, with doing all the marketing that they've done, they might have completed their resources at their growth period of where they were going. Customers are out there. Customers are always looking for something new and great. There is no loyalty to brands with clients. They don't care. Yes, Apple has a majority in that world, but even now, people are going to Samsung phones. People are starting to go around to different technologies. This day and age, there is no brand loyalty. There is no manufacturer loyalty. There is no company loyalties. It's a free-for-all. There's too much information out, except to Sony, of course. Yeah. There's a lot. There's integrators. Integrators at this point need to stand their ground. We need to constantly change and learn and adapt to newer solutions, but we also have to be honest about where we're going. We also have to, speak our minds when, okay, Sonos, let's ask the hard questions. Why did you decide to do this? Yeah, here's the fluff, but you said prior that they have always been in this integration. They have always been in this business, but they didn't want to open their API because when customers called, they didn't want to have to say, well, you have to go to your Crestron dealer. Unfortunately, that is not our issue. They would be able to complete the solution. They would be able to work through networking and offer a better customer service.
Hold on. But is that a bad thing?
It's not. No, it's a great thing. What Sonos was doing.
From where we sit in the industry, though, as the CI guys, it's a terrible thing that they wouldn't open their API for so long.
Right, for us.
But as a consumer, I don't care. I just want the thing to work. And that's always been, in full disclosure, we at Omega, we've been Sonos dealers for, long before they were, heck, even in Best Buy. And the thing we always loved about it was, and I hate to say it like this, but if nothing else in the system worked,
Sonos
as long as the internet was on, Sonos freaking worked.
Solid.
It wouldn't matter if the remote batteries died. They could pull out their phone and just freaking play music. Yep. And that's what most people, once you get out of watching TV, that's what they want. They just want the freaking music to play when they're having dinner. I get what you're saying, that it took them way longer than it should have, but I don't think they really care.
No, they don't.
And they've built such a huge base of people that, again, have one or two products and just swear by the thing. The fact that they waited till they were able to, A, hopefully get it right, B, do really stupid, simple, cool things like the Lutron Pico, that, it's another one of the parts of this story is, they've got a little on-wall Pico controller that, Tim just threw that up for us, that it's a $49 battery-operated controller that, like, for in my house, I want one of these so I can put it in my son's nursery. So when he's, sleeping in his crib, hopefully, and I want to turn down his sleepy music, I don't have to pull out my phone as I'm, either rocking him to sleep or trying to find a soother. It's little stuff like that that they're doing that I think just makes a ton of sense.
But it's a lot of movement, right? Think about it. They're
it's
working,
huge.
right? They're
Huge.
working with every manufacturer. So the question I have for them at Cedia is, how are you going to handle all these different product, service calls, and all like Lutron, Crestron, Control 4, Savant, iPort? How are they going to handle all these different manufacturers? Is it going to be a support line? Does it go to the dealers? Does it go to Crestron? Who's this going to go to when there's a problem? Is it going to be just like the cable companies that immediately comes to us and we're fixing their problem, but they get paid? And again, with Sonos, the reason why I picked them is because you said it. They're the most stable media server out there at this point, and it's going to offer our customers a great solution that's guaranteed to work. But this is a lot of movement in 1 year. A lot of manufacturers from a company that, stood on their customer service. Everything was internal. Everything was through them. How are they going to fix this? How are they going to, when there's an issue, what are they going to do? That's the questions that I have.
I think it comes down to, and again, I really don't care who supports it.
Well, you will when there's a
Well,
issue,
I will when they're
right?
calling us.
Right.
But again, we bill for it, so yeah. What do you do? How long have they been in the works on this?
1 year. Really? Does anybody have a confirmation on that?
Oh God, no.
I could confirm with the Crestron period. That's all I could confirm with is how long they worked with them for.
Right, but from Crestron. But you don't know
Correct.
how long Sonos has been working on it.
You're right. That's correct. I don't.
And I know I've had some off the record conversations with guys from Sonos, and it's something that they've looked at for quite a while. I get what you're saying. I think the biggest thing that I see is that it's, yes, they're opening up a whole lot of support questions, but how many of those clients are going to call Sonos? How many of them are going to call us? But let's move on. Otherwise, we'll chat about this forever. Over on CNET, we've got a story on Sony's brand new, brighter Z series TVs.
You must be Canadian.
I am. You caught that. The Z series. It sounds so much cooler than Z. The Z series? No, the Z series. They may put you in debt, but you'll look great doing it. I did not write this byline. Just the other day, Sony announced, obviously, their brand new Z series, or Z series, depending where you are, showing everything from a 65 up to 75 and a crazy 100-inch model that, shockingly enough, they did not show pricing on. Do you have pricing on that, Jason?
Yeah, I do. That TV will go on sale. Oh yeah. It's public information.
Okay.
That TV will go on sale for $60,000 retail.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
When you're shopping, and of course, I train dealers in 13 states. I travel. I travel my territory, and we've talked about this. And some of the guys in the room get sticker shocked immediately, and like, oh my God, $60,000. And I was like, have you shopped for a 100-inch size from brand X, Y, or S other brand? They're north of $100,000. So you're talking a $40,000 discount compared to those guys, and we've got some pretty unique technology. Yeah, it's a stunner. I just saw it actually in San Diego. They're boxing up for Cedia, so I've seen actual production pieces of this TV. It'll knock the eyes right out of your head. It's really awesome. It's of course I'm paid to say that, but I've been in this since 1996. I've seen a lot of technologies come and go, and really amazing things for people to put their eyes on. Yeah, this is one of those watershed kind of TV technology marks, certainly for Sony.
So this is a 4K line, of course. It is LED. It's not OLED.
Correct.
It's direct local dimming. Can you give some insight onto why it's better than OLED?
Sure. So And again,
And say it slow so Tim gets it.
sure.
'Cause he's
Okay.
a huge OLED fan.
I'm a fan of direct view TVs. Going back to the plasma days, sold lots of PDP panels.
Amen.
42-inch was $15,000 in 2000 2001. So I get it, and I appreciate the performance of those sets. But we're 16 years on now. 15, 14 years on now. We should have something better. So reason that the LCD technology is still, we'll put this in quotations, better than OLED is we can go bigger. So we can make the panels bigger than 65 inches. That right now, that's the largest OLED panel that you'll get out there. You'll be able to do brighter because we can actually illuminate the TV discreetly behind the television, behind the LCD panels, as opposed to relying on the lighting elements themselves to create the forward light. So, or excuse me, the illumination on the TV. I think when you kind of put those things together and you add the panel life of LCD versus OLED into the mix, you're going to get a TV that probably equal dollars out of your wallet as a customer, but the TV will last longer, will be bigger, will be brighter, and will probably, maybe not in every single category outperform OLED, but in the categories that really matter, I think we're going to stomp on them, or at least show up to the party with our biggest guns blazing compared to what they're doing with our competitors' stuff.
Very good, Tim. Everybody who knows you or listens to the show knows you're a huge OLED guy.
Yes.
Knowing that you'll be able to see this at CEDIA, and Jason will give you a personal tour.
Of course I will.
See? How much, if just like Jason says, it's got a better picture than OLED, how much of a game changer, if you will, if we're able to, or Sony is able to produce an LED TV that looks as good, if not better, than an OLED, how much does that change the market going forward?
But here's the thing, and yes, I'm a big fan of OLED. I'm a big fan of emissive technology in general. That's why I think OLED is the next evolution of plasmas, and I was a big fan of plasmas. If it looks as good as the CNET piece that it says it does, you look at it from a couple different angles. First of all, the 100-inch. Let's start with that. You're not going to get a whole lot from the commercial side in what we do with AVWeek. There's some use there, but you also have in the residential and the CI market, you're going to have a lot of folks go, holy cow, we can get into a 100-inch TV for less than $100,000. Jason's right. That has been 100 to 200 grand has been about where it's been.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get into a Sony, which Todd mentioned earlier, has been kind of a Cadillac brand since the 70s and the 80s. You can get into a Sony, 100-inch Sony for less than $100,000, significantly less than $100,000. That one right there, I think, is what's really going to pique people's interest and start them getting interested in this and the technology. It is going to need to be seen, though, right? Folks who install this, folks who spec this, folks who are going to say you have to have this TV over anything else, they're going to have to see it, right? They're going to have to see it not only on a trade show, but also, in the real world, right? Whether it's Jason coming around with the 65-inch version to, Todd's, place of business or Omega, or seeing it in a real-life installation. Nothing in Sony or anybody else is going to be on CEDIA's show floor in 2 weeks. But there is a trade show, smoke and beers that happens, right? I want to see it in a real world. I want to see it in somebody's living room. I want to see it in somebody's boardroom.
I think what he's saying is he'd like to see it in his, and if you have a demo unit, he'd love to review it.
He would like the prototype unit.
75-inch would be lovely. It could,
No, it's.
I think it is. I think it'll be interesting to see how Sony takes this and takes the technology, and competes with other folks who are doing LED and some who are doing OLED.
Now, Todd, we were talking about this pre-show. Once you see this, Is this something that would cause you to be more interested in selling Sony or moving more Sony, shall we say?
To be honest with you, with televisions, and we were talking earlier about brand loyalist, with the TV brands and manufacturers, I've been very loyal to Samsung for many, many years. Throughout the years, last year actually, Samsung raised some red flags, which has caused me to do a little more research on Sony. So this year I will be spending more time at CEDIA checking out the Sony brands and products that are offered, and also getting a little more education and figuring out what brands would work best with the integration products that I'm using. So yeah, let's check it out. Let's go for it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Good, thanks. All right, gentlemen, since we spent so much time talking Sonos, we're out of time. Jason, thank you so much for being here. This was, I believe, your first time with us.
It was.
Where can people connect with you?
So I will be on the CEDIA show floor in the Sony booth. Just look for the 6-foot-tall salt and pepper dude walking around in the booth, giving tours. So that's an easy way to get a hold of me. You can find me on Facebook under Jason Savage with a Y. So Jason, Jayson, Savage, Savage, at Facebook.com. Pretty easy to get a hold of me there. And of course, if you're anywhere on the West Coast and you deal with some of the major distributors, or you deal with sales companies in any of those regions, most of those guys are going to know how to get a hold of me. Like I said, I'd be happy to appear on your show anytime if you've got questions or whatever, and definitely get a personal tour of the Sony booth so we can get them away from the other S brand.
Do it. Do it. Very, very good. Todd, thanks for being here for the second week in a row.
Thank you, Matt, for having me.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Todd Anthony Puma, as well as Instagram, Facebook, and any other social media sites. But this year you can find me at CEDIA as a CEDIA tweet, and also behind the CEDIA booth, hiding out since Crestron is no longer there.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to send them a copy of the show. Timmy, thank you for filling in for the unfortunately tardy Joe Whitaker. Where can people find you?
AVNation.tv. That is
the best place.
That is what I want to steal it for just 1 second.
Your picture's all over that one.
Well, here's the thing. This right here is a pretty artwork that Matt made for us. This is our CEDIA page, our CEDIA section of the website. This is where all of our we are
going to have a ton of coverage there.
We are, and I'll be there. Todd will be there. Uncle Richie, Rich Fregosa. So yeah, tons of folks will be hanging out, and we'll be doing booth tours, and I'm going to go by and see the Sony TV. But for social media, it's TD Tim David Albright on Twitter.
Very, very good. And of course, myself, if you'd like to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at Matt D. Scott, and pretty much everywhere else on social platforms. But as Tim mentioned, please stop by AVNation.tv. You'll find this show as well as a wide variety of other shows and all the other verticals that we cover. When you visit our website, hence you're going to visit our website, but when you do, stop by and take a look at our underwriters. They support us, allow us to do this and produce these shows that you love oh so much. So please stop by, take a look, and click through and give them some support as well. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to you guys for being here. That is all the time we have for ResiWeek.